Hi, we're back with a Penquisition with another multi-generational review. This week we're taking a look at multi-pens. We've got, this is a multi-pen from a previous generation of pens, the Cross Matrix. I think you actually gave me this one, Dad.
It
It's,
came in several parts.
yes. Well, it up on this end, it twists for a red or blue ballpoint. And then this piece down here is a stylus, not a multi-touch stylus, but actually a hard stylus for resistive touch screens.
Yeah.
And if you remove it and flip it around, this is one of the few fountain pen multi-pens out there.
I think it had a highlighter that you could throw in there too.
It did come with an alternate piece here that you could put either a highlighter cartridge or a roller ball or gel cartridge in. Actually took the same refill as the Cross Ion, the little pen that looks a lot like the Lamy Pico, where you pull it apart and the tip comes out.
You make it look good. Why did I give it to you?
I don't know. I've got a red one somewhere that I can't find. So if I find the red one, you could have the blue one.
All right.
But we've both taken a look at a variety of multi-pens over the last few weeks. And so we're going to be reporting on them to each other now.
Yes. Yes. All right. You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
All right. This is an Oni Jetstream. A lot of people like it, and I do too. What I found is the ink refills in it are gel, and that's what makes it one of my favorite. I shouldn't do my favorite first, but I like it a lot. It easy to operate, easy to hold, definitely smooth. And anybody that's ever read anything I've written, I like smooth writing. But this one definitely is up there near the top of my list. So I like it a lot. The refills, I believe, I don't know if they're proprietary, but it's called the refills are called Jetstream. So it doesn't use the D1 ink refills. I don't know whether they would fit in here or not, but it uses the Jetstream from Oni refills. So I like this one a lot. I'm not going to let you have this one, Evan.
I don't need you to, because I've got a doppelganger here, the Pilot Dr. Grip 4+1. And so this has black, blue, green, red, and pencil, which
this is the same as
yes.
that. Yes, I forgot to say that.
And similarly, which you didn't go over for the pencil, you actually press down on the clip, which I found a little strange the first time I saw it, but explains, I don't know how well you can see, but there's two bumps here for the clip to go up against. But otherwise works like you're used to with, push down one refill, push down the next, and it pulls the other back up. And for the pencil, a little eraser under there as well.
Right here, same thing.
And I found this to be a, I didn't attempt to measure, but I found this to write with a finer point than some of the other multi-pens that I'm used to.
I think they're 0.7 for the ink, and the pencil is 0.5.
Yeah, the pencil in here was 0.5.
Yeah, I think that the ink cartridges are 0.7, if I remember looking right.
But I don't think these are the same cartridges.
Oh, okay.
Because this isn't Oni, this is Pilot.
Okay, I thought maybe they would use the same cartridges. These are plastic cartridges.
These are also plastic. Maybe they are.
I bet you it's very similar.
Yeah, you never know for sure who's OEMing what.
Do you remember how much that one cost?
I don't recall what I paid for it. It was in the 10 to 15 range, I believe.
Yeah, I think this was about $10. I'd be willing to bet that the Oni would be cheaper, but they're in the same ballpark.
Yeah,
you got a red one, of course.
Of course, I got the red one, and it's got the soft touch Dr. Grip as well.
Which may make that one worth it if you like the Dr. Grip.
Yes.
So, all right, next one, me.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to pick out a different one. This is the Sailor. I'm not sure if they have a special name for it, but it's the Sailor Multi-Pen. It's part gravity. So
what color did you get it in?
I got it in black. because it matches the black with the imperial black fountain pen I have. So I like it. It's a little thinner than the other pens we've looked at, so not as comfortable for me. But you essentially look at whatever ink refill you want coming out, and this is black, blue, red, and a pencil, a 0.5 pencil. So you look at it and you press it in. Now my problem is, this is the second one I've had, and they don't stay in very well. When you want to change cartridges or change ink, then you twist it a little bit to get the other one out. But as I'm doing now, and I'm not trying to play with it, the ink point just doesn't stay out. Maybe, I don't know what it, I'll take the blame for it, but I don't like it. I know this is some people's favorites. I would prefer if it was a little thicker, but it was expensive. I forget what it was, but it was definitely not like we're talking about the other Japanese pens.
I believe it was in the 30 to 40 range.
Yeah, $30 or $40 range. I would, based on all these ones we've been looking at, I would definitely not near the top of my list, other than it looks nice. And it's only black, blue, red, and pencil. So it's only 3 inks and lead versus what we were looking about before, which was 4 inks and lead. Of course, you can always change what you've got. So you're not stuck. If you don't like the blue, you could always take it out. These, I believe, are the D1 refills. They look like the D1 refills. So again, not near the top of my list. A nice pen, looks nice, like most sailors. You didn't think I'd say that.
You like the Pro Gears? They don't look like Mont Blancs.
I like the Pro Gears, and this one has kind of a Pro Gear slim look to it. I would say it needs to be fattened up a bit, and maybe, yeah. See, now it's working well if you just push it in. No twisting. If you twist it a little bit, it doesn't go in. Maybe I'll keep it. No. Again, it's a nice pen. It writes nicely. Not for me.
Sure. I had a similar experience actually with the Lamy 2000 Multipen, which is another pen that's very popular. A lot of people love this one. This was actually the most expensive multi-pen we looked at. This, I think, was, in the 60 to 70 range. The first thing I noticed when I opened it up out of the box, and it came in a nice, for a multi-pen, this is, a real nice box. I mean, it's not a Lamy Dialogue 3 box, but still, this is what my Lamy 2000 fountain pen came in. So, that's high end for a multi-pen. The first thing I noticed was that the clip felt very loose to me, which, you pay that much money for you pay that much money for a pen. There are pens that cost a whole lot more, but you pay that much for a multi-pen, you're expecting it to be, the nicest fit and finish of any multi-pen. A loose clip was a surprise. And then from there, what I also found, now this is 4-color, no pencil, and it's another gravity system where you turn it. But I found that I feel like every time I press the back, I don't know if grating is the word. It feels like metal on metal somewhere. It feels like something is rubbing that shouldn't be. And I went ahead and ordered a replacement, and the replacement felt exactly the same. The clip was just as loose. And I talked to other people, and that's just, the clips on these have a lot of back and forth play. But the feeling when I press it in, it just feels like something's off.
Yeah, I don't care how much you pay for it, but you want that clip. You want that clip to feel good. You want to be sure that the pen's going to stay in your pocket, whether it's $5 or $55, because you have it to use. Yeah. And you don't want it falling out or whatever the problem could be.
Yeah, and these refills are proprietary. What are they? Lamy what's the number? M21. refills. And so you can change them, and I'm sure people have hacked D1s and other things in here, but you're then limited kind of to the colors that Lamy has if you're not comfortable, cutting things down and hacking them together yourself.
Yeah, that's not the same refill that goes in the Pico. I think that's an
Maybe.
M25.
Did I read this wrong? It looked like an M21.
I mean, it could be.
Leave it to Lamy to have completely different refills, even though they could have done it with one.
Yeah, and Lamy makes a lot of refills, and they're usually good quality.
Yeah, I mean, I like Lamy overall, and even the clip doesn't feel like it's not secure. It's not play forward and backwards. It's play side to side, but it just,
that's not right.
If this is going to be, the splurge multi-pen, it shouldn't. It was a bad first impression to have out of the box to feel like, is this broken when I first open it?
Yeah, I mean, since multi-pens range from what, $5 up to $50, $60. Yeah, that the Lamy shouldn't be, the clip shouldn't be the way you described it.
Yeah, and the mechanism, the way that it just feels like, if someone told me, oh, this one, this one needs to be oiled, I believe them. Something just doesn't feel right. The Macrolon and stainless steel, it looks great. If your goal was just to have, you're going to use it rarely, but you want it to match your Lamy 2000 fountain pen, then that's fine. But if you're looking for the best multi-pen, this doesn't feel best to
me. Yeah. All right. Well, not at the top of your list.
No.
Here is, as far as I'm concerned, an oldie but a goodie. Well, an oldie and a semi-goodie. This is Cross. I think it's called Cross Trio. And the top part goes around. So there's black, red, and pencil. Up here is a very soft tip, which was probably very apropos, and people loved it 15 years ago. And the tip here comes off, and you get a nice eraser on the inside.
I think, to be fair, I don't think capacitive touchscreens really took off until 2008, 2009 when the iPhone came out. So let's say 10 years ago.
Okay, 10 years ago, but nobody is selling them now. I don't see anybody selling them. So this is something, I mean, it's a nice pen. It's thin for me, okay? And like I was mentioning to you, I let you know all the time, I think I have a little arthritis in my thumb. So that means I prefer stuff that's a little bigger. But Cross definitely needs to do some updating on this. And I didn't realize, I think in this country we take Cross for granted. In Europe, Cross is very well thought of. And I know in, I believe it was Amsterdam, I think it was Amsterdam, I went looking for pens at one point. It may have not been, it was somewhere in Europe, I don't remember. Not that I've been in all these places, but, and any jewelry store you go into and you ask, do you have any high-end pens? And they always point you to Cross. So it gave me a better feeling about Cross, a better respect for Cross, that in other countries, they're considered higher class than I think we do here, which is typical. There's certain toys, I remember when you were a kid, that in Europe, they were nothing, but here, big deal. I think Brio, these little brick trains, here everybody was paying phenomenal amounts of money for them. We went to UK when you were a baby, they were cheap, not that we brought any home for you. But my point is, Cross makes a nice pen. It's too thin for me, and it only has the black and the red and the lead, and I have no need for this soft tip up here. And other than that, I don't think I've even tried taking this thing apart. I'm not going to try now. But it's more of a ballpoint. I think I mentioned to you again, I prefer the gel. If I'm going to use a pen versus a fountain pen, I prefer the gels versus the ballpoints. I'm not a big ballpoint fan, mainly because it takes too much effort. I like roller balls and I like the gel gel pens, the gel refills. So this, again, is probably at the bottom of my list, right next to the Sailor. Looks nice, though.
It seems to be sometimes you choose either does the pen look good or work good. And, like here's one that I like the look of, but I'm sure like many Rotring products, there are people who think this looks busy and ugly. I've always had a love for Rotring. I've talked before about the Rotring closet I grew up with. So, this is a Rotring Tiki 3-in-1. And I hunted this down because this seems to be one of the last Rotrings that uses a gravity system. We talked about the Sailor and the Lamy both use gravity, and depending on how you hold it up, that's the color that comes out. And so this is the one that Rotring still has on the market that does that. We've got black, red, and a 0.5 pencil as well here. So it's kind of a 2+1, like the Cross. Actually, the pencil didn't come out that time. There we go. And you advance the lead like that there. We also have an eraser up underneath. And this is, it's ballpoint, but there's something about whoever Rotring sources their ballpoints from, they just seem to write well. They seem to write better than other D1 refills and other things. I don't know. I mean, they're owned by Sanford. It's not like they've got, some special, secret sauce or something, but, and Sanford has Parker, Schaefer, I think Waterman, maybe Sanford as well. But whoever either they're making, whichever brand they're making it under or whoever they're sourcing them from, it writes nicely.
I have one also. You gave me yesterday when I came to visit you. I like it also. My problem is the little button here you press to retract it.
Right.
Because of my arthritis, it hurts a little bit. But, it hurts for half a second. As far as refills, now I haven't looked at this one, but I believe these are Schmidt. And if you look up people's favorite refills, Schmidt is up there. So I believe they're Schmidt. I don't know. I know the other Rotring that we're going to talk about definitely is Schmidt.
I would believe you that it's Schmidt. And it for what it's worth, it writes well. I don't know if they, go through and pick out the best Schmidts or what it is, but I've been happy with this, and I don't have any issues pressing that button.
Well, you got bigger fingers than I do.
I didn't test that one before I gave it to you. It may be that I gave you the bad one. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. When we first started talking about these a few weeks ago, I also looked up refills because trying to understand pen refills, and the Jetstream and the Schmidt seem to be at the top of everybody's list, even though I recently found a Quaco refill that I had, and if I could find Quaco refills, and I put it into a Rotring Core, but it's gel, and it just feels so smooth. I don't know who makes Quacos. Maybe they make their own. That would be at the top of my list. But again, like I mentioned before, these pens are all dependent on the refills.
Sure.
So, and I think that's why, not speaking for anybody other than me, I think that's why the Oni Jetstream is near the top of everybody's list, because it just feels so nice to write with. You're not sitting there, with some ballpoints. You feel like you got to really struggle to get that little ball moving.
It's the refill, but also the mechanism. If the mechanism feels like it's grinding against itself, then is a great refill worth it if it feels like a hassle to deploy it?
Yeah, and one thing I'll say about all these pens is the pencil portion is almost perfect in every one. The way you bring the lead out, the way that it retracts, everything it does. I remember 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't say that about most of the Multipens. they were struggling to have 3, let alone 4 refills in there. And I don't know if any of them tried to put a pencil in there because it's an extra mechanism. Not only do you have to bring the pencil out, you've got to be able to keep the lead going out.
Rotring is the only one I think of when I think of, old ones with pencils.
Yeah.
So your next pen.
Oh, my next one?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do, this is another one that people seem to like, the Zebra Sarasa. And very similarly made to the Oni and the Dr. Grip. It's the same colors. It's black, red, green, blue, and a 0.5 pencil. It all works the same way. Where you push down, instead of it being a triangle, it's a rectangle on here. It's a nice pen. It's about the same size as the Oni pen. Highly rated. I don't know hardly anything about Zebra as a company. I always thought, and I'm wrong, but I always thought it was an in-house brand for Staples, because that's where I first saw them. So hopefully I don't mean that to be a put down or anything. It's just that Staples seem to have lots and lots and lots of Zebra branded pens on their shelves. I just thought it was their home brand. But it's nice. It's also gel and seems to have very similar refills to the Oni pen. I don't believe it was very expensive. I think it was in the $10, $13 range. It's called the Sarasa Multi, Zebra Sarasa Multi. And I think Zebra makes a lot of multi-pens. I've got another one that I'll talk about after this. But they seem to make a lot of multi-pens. And I think they're appealing to several markets, not just people who need to use multi-pens, but I think they're crafty. And I think, is it Zebra that makes a lot of different refills, a lot of different color refills?
They may. When I think of Zebra, I think about how they make a flex nib, a dip flex nib that's very popular. But they do kind of appeal to different hobbyists, not just the business crowd.
Yeah. Well, which was the brand that you could, I guess you buy the pen and then you buy the cartridges sepapirately?
Zebra has that. There's a few different companies. We may take a look at a couple of those in a future piece as well.
Right. I think Zebra was one of them, but it's hard to tell the difference between their pens. Again, the one I'll talk about next is very similar, but it's got a different name and a slightly different look. So again, good pen. It's very similar to the other Japanese pens.
Sure. So for the next pen, there's, when I think of a multi-pen, I think most people who grew up, in the U.S., at the very least, who grew up in the U.S. in the 80s and 90s, there's one pen you think of when you think of a multi-pen, which is a Bic multi-pen. So it was important to me that we included some kind of Bic multi-pen, and this is the Bic 3+1, which I thought, in terms of, I didn't want to just get, the standard 4-color, Bic multi-pen that, I'm going to try and say, okay, well, it's cheap and, it's the Bic multi-pen. I wanted to, see, okay, if I was going to go buy a Bic for myself, this is going to be my multi-pen, which one would I get? This it gives up the green from the normal red, blue, black, green combo and replaces it with a pencil. And it also then includes an eraser on the end. So it deploys as you're used to from these Bic pencils, or these Bic pens. Each one that you push down gets the next up, except you've got this gray here replacing the green, and that's your pencil. And once the pencil is down, you can press down on this eraser to advance the lead. And I don't know if you can hear that.
I hear Bic, 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 Bic.
Well, it's making a sound to me that's so that's not specific to the pencil. Well, when the pencil's out, at least it makes that sound.
Tell your daughter there's a little bird inside of there.
I may. If you press it down when there's no pencil out, it does that. Like they're all trying to escape. But I mean, for $5, it works well. For $5, it's passable.
That's not refillable, or it is refillable?
So it is. It took me some time to figure this out. I was staring at it. It looked like a seamless piece. I finally found there's a hidden break there. And so, you can refill the leads. Because that's what seemed odd to me. This came with replacement erasers and leads.
Okay.
And so I was looking at it like they're not expecting you to hold it down and press, the leads in one by one. And no, they aren't. You could pull out the little tip here. And then, so I've got, I think, 2 spare leads in there, 1 spare lead in there, and the one that's loaded in.
Okay.
So that's replaceable. And then I don't know if they sell, the refills or if there's other ones that fit in here, but there's your little Bic innards for the pen.
It looks the same size as all these other ones.
Yeah. I mean, it may be swappable, but it's also, for what it is, it's nice. I've never been one to be down on Bic for being Bic. People need cheap pens. They need it. You can spend, $60, $70 on a Macrolon and stainless steel, Lamy, 4-color gravity system, and then sit there going, is this clip wiggling too much? I don't like the feeling of this. Or you can spend $5 and get a perfectly passable multi-pen.
Yeah. So if somebody's looking for value, sounds like the Bic wins over everybody.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's the best writer, but I didn't have any problems writing with it either.
Yeah. And as far as giving it to a kid or somebody who might be prone to lose pens, at $5, not too bad.
Not too bad. And they've got, they've expanded their multi-pen range greatly. I when I walk through Sam's Club, I see a pack where you can get a bunch of them and they're different colors each one. And, they've got the one that has, 20 or 12 or however many on top, but then, they've got a lot of these different, the 4-shaped ones.
All right. So my last of the Japanese pens, again, this one looks very similar to the Oni. This is the Zebra clip-on multi.
The colors look like the Bic.
It does. It looks very much like the Bic. I don't know why, how this is different from the other Zebra that I just said, other than it's lighter, but it's black, red, green, blue, and a pencil. It's actually easier to see the colors versus this, I guess, translucent plastic that's on here. I like heavy pens, so I'm not a big fan of this one because it's not that heavy. It's not that easy to write with because I like heavier pens, but it's got a little eraser up top. It works very well. Again, the same mechanism as the other Japanese pens. And I don't know whether many of these pens are being made by the same place and they just put a name on it, which is very possible. They're nice pens. If somebody gave me one and that was the only one I had, I'd be satisfied. The fact that now I've looked at several and I can choose, and I think we're both going to agree on the next pen being our favorite for some odd reason, because it's hard to quantify why it is, but I'm going to let you talk about it.
I don't think we agree, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because I published a review. You did that on purpose. I published a review a month or two ago about this pen, the Rotring. This is the newly released Rotring 600 3-in-1. Not sure if it's for sale directly in the U.S. yet, but we ordered ours from Japan, and I wasn't a fan. Having some more time with it, it's some of my complaints. I'm willing to concede that it's my expectations on it, which, I grew up stealing your old Rotrings, so I liked that mechanism that was in the Tiki, that the gravity mechanism and turning it like that. And this isn't the gravity mechanism. This is, I describe it as a carousel where as you turn it, let's see how well I can show this here. As you turn it, different refills take their turns extending up. And so to retract it, you essentially pull it back so that two are kind of, balanced out. And that's all going on inside of it. So when I pick this up off my desk, I don't know what the next color coming out of it is going to be. I have to just keep turning until I get what I want.
Mystery. Yeah. Add some excitement to your day.
But compare that to either turn and look for the color you want, like the tiki, the sailor, the lammy, or, the Bic, the pilot, the zebras, the Jetstream as well. You look at the side and you can say, okay, that's the color I want.
Yeah.
And so I don't, the two crosses had a similar mechanism, correct? I know.
Yeah, the cross, the trio, very
the
simple.
Matrix has that, but you're turning one side or the other. And then your cross had the same sort of carousel. It's a perfectly functional system. I know that there's some of the multi-pens, maybe it's a Zebra one where you can swap out your own refills. And for that, I'd say, okay, that makes sense there because I don't, on the pen body, it's not going to say what each color is because I'm putting my own colors in. So
Right.
I'd compromise that there. But when this is coming with red, black, and pencil, and that's what it is, I want to deploy what I want, not have to cycle through.
Well, I made a list of comfortable pens and ones that have a good writing feel. The Rotring is at the top of my writing feel because it's heavier. I like the grip. I just like the way it feels. Yes, you're right. I suspect, there doesn't seem to be any way to say, okay, I stopped it on black, so the next one is going to be red. But I don't think it works that way. But maybe it's because I have a lot of Rotrings. I like Rotring. I know you have a black one. I've got this silver one here. It was not very expensive. We got it from Amazon, Japan. I like it. It just feels like all the other Rotrings. It's not oversized, but it's a nice size. But again, on my list here, I have the Rotring #1 for writing feel, the Oni Jetstream 2, Zebra Sarasa, Zebra Clip-On, Sailor, and the Cross. These are for pens that I could write with for a while. For the comfort rating, okay, similar, but again, if I wanted to write with it for a while, I'm sorry, the writing feel was how it feels when it writes, okay? For being able to write long time, all I did was I swapped the Uni and the Rotring. Otherwise, everything's the same, with the Cross being at the bottom and the Sailor because they're so thin. There's the thin pens, but the Rotring is my #1 or #2 with the Jetstream, Oni Jetstream. These are my two favorite, and I like them both. I like them both.
So I will grant you, it feels good in the hand, the Rotring. I got to hold it up because it blends in with my shirt. I could be holding nothing here and it would look the same. But, it feels good in the hand. In terms of having a pen that I can grab and just, select the color, it's not it. And the look of the back looks like it's discrete, knock or click up top. It looks like A, you should be able to pull it off and see an eraser, and you can't. But B, this piece doesn't even press down. If you pull it out, there's nothing there. No give, nothing. When you've got the pencil out and you press it down, this entire unit here presses down into it. And that just, to me, it's why make it like that? If it's just going to turn, why not either cut it off there or have it be one cylinder back? I like the design of Rotring. I wish they had, if they're going to have the carousel mechanism, if that's what they've decided on, that's what they've decided on. Why not redesign the back of it to fit the function of the pen? Because what this looks like is they designed it to look like the other Rotrings, not to look like its own function.
Yeah. I'm not sure who's designing Rotrings these days, because I guess the German company, I think it still exists, but they're not putting out new pens. This is now,
Well, they're owned by.
they're
The
still owned by
Rotring
them.
is owned by Sanford,
Okay.
Newell, whichever the parent company is there.
Yeah, Sanford bought them a long time ago, I believe.
Yeah, so they're. I believe that the company itself is American. I'm not 100% on that, where the headquarters is, but I also don't know the whole corporate structure of, it's a multinational conglomerate.
Sanford, I've always liked Sanford pens, Sanford roller balls. I remember using them a lot.
Sanford and Sons is a great show.
Sanford and Sons, yeah.
But just for comparison, here's a Rotring 600 ballpoint.
Yeah.
With that, you press down the knock. Versus here, you're pressing down the whole back piece.
Yeah. Well, they've got to look for their pencils. Well, they've got to look for their pencils and pens.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to do. I mean, as you know, their fountain pens have a different look.
Yeah. Well, and if they re-release them, hopefully they wouldn't stick a weird thing on the back just to have the look.
Yeah. Well, I guess what it's missing isn't it the Rotring pencils that you can rotate this to tell you what lead is there?
Yes, the pencils have that. I don't believe it's on the ballpoint anymore. The ballpoint
Right.
used to have it, I think. And then we've got on the fountain pen, this is an old Rotring 600 fountain pen.
Right.
You rotate it to see the nib grade.
So my point
on the
is,
rollerball, it was color.
yeah, my point is that they could easily do something like that to tell you what is the next color that's going to come out, or what color you've got out there. And, after a while you realize, okay, it goes red, pencil, black, red, pencil, black.
Well, this piece here rotates independently of that, so they actually couldn't without. It would require some extra mechanism there.
Yeah, that's something.
They could have designed that, and instead of having a fake knockback here, they could have used this space for whatever that mechanism would be.
Yeah.
But also then it might have cost $150 and nobody wants it.
That's true. So I told you what my two favorites were. What's your favorites?
So my favorites, there's a nostalgia with the Tiki. That, I wish I had a 600 that worked this way, but I've got, my Rotring here that works that way. So that's a favorite, just for, this makes me happy to use.
Yeah.
For value, it's the Bic.
Yeah.
I mean, $5, you've got the 3+1, not that anyone should be throwing away $5, but if you're going to treat it as disposable, you can, compared to $60, $70 for a pen. Yeah. Or you can refill it. You can get in there, you can put more lead in, you've got replacement erasers. But I do think in terms of everyday use, the Pilot, which I'm curious to know, this being so close to the Jetstream, is there, was there a shared design here? What's going on? Or is this just, this style is popular in Japan, so Japanese companies tend to go with this style? I thought the refills in here were nice. They were a finer point than the ballpoint refills in the others. And having 4+1, the extra color there is nice. Having those options, having that extra green refill in addition to the pencil, the red, black, and blue, that made a difference. Yeah. And it's fun knowing there's a secret eraser there.
Secret eraser, that's right. No, they look very similar. The Dr. Grip and the Jetstream. So it's interesting that we end up liking the same pen, and we've looked at, I lost count, 10 or 11 different pens.
Yeah.
Not all of them by any means. There are others out there that we didn't look at, and other popular ones out there too. I mean, if you talk to various people, everybody's got an opinion, and not necessarily the same one. These are these come in handy. So when you find one that works and you can get refills for it readily,
Yes.
because I can't tell you over the years how many times I've thrown a pencil away or pen away because I can't find a refill for it. And it's not using a Parker, it might be using something proprietary, and it's just not worth it searching around for it.
That's my fear with the Bic, not knowing how easy it would be to find refills for this.
Yeah.
That's the reason I can't put this as the number one.
Good value. Again, $5, throw it away. Well, problem is, you run out of blue, you still got the others there.
Exactly. It becomes like printer cartridges.
Yeah. There's probably a Facebook page for Bic Multipens. People that love those things and have carried one around since they were in elementary school.
Did I not invite you to the Bic Crystal Appreciation Facebook page? I'll have to give you an invite.
Okay. All right. I'll take the invite. Sounds good. It's Sunday night. Time to get ready for work in the morning and school. And
I got to put my pens away so I know where they are tomorrow morning when I need to pull them out.
Luckily, I'm the only one that uses this part of this desk. Good night, Evan.
Good night, Dad.
Bye.
Bye.